I never imagined my wedding day would turn into the biggest showdown of my life, right there in the heart of Montana's Big Sky country. But as I stood in the grand barn-turn ballroom of the Thompson Ranch, in a gown that sparkled like fresh snow on the Rockies, I watched my new father-in-law, Bill Thompson, jab his meaty finger straight at my mom and boom out for all 300 guests to hear. That ain't no mother. That's just plain trash. The whole place went quieter than a ghost town at midnight. You could have heard a pine needle drop. And then Jake, my husband of barely an hour, let out a laugh. Not some awkward chuckle to ease the tension, but a real belly laugh that said he was right there with his old man. It hit me like a sudden blizzard, cold, shocking, and impossible to ignore. I froze in my lace-up boots, the ones I'd picked to match the Western theme, staring at Mom. She didn't break down or holler back. She just sat at her little table by the kitchen doors, hands clasped like she was waiting out a storm. But I'm jumping ahead. Let me rewind to how this mess kicked off. 3 days before the big day, I was up on a fitting platform in a bridal shop in downtown Bozeman, the kind with antler chandeliers and views of the Bridger Mountains. Mom perched on a leather couch by the mirror, her worn denim purse in her lap. She had on her Sunday best, a simple plaid shirt and jeans, boots scuffed from years of hard work. Her hair was in a neat ponytail, practical as always. Margaret Thompson, my future mother-in-law, lounged on the opposite side in a tailored outfit that screamed high-end catalog, probably shipped from some fancy store in Denver. Her silver jewelry glinted under the lights, and her boots were the kind that cost more than a month's rent on our old place. The dress fits like a glove. Emily, Margaret drawled, her voice sweet as honey but with that edge rich folks use when they're about to sting. Though I hope you've been stickin' to that meal plan I emailed ya. We want those photos to pop. Don't we? I plastered on a grin. I'd shed 10 pounds chowing down on salads and hiking trails to meet her suggestions. Then she turned to Mom. Sarah.
Hun.
You got your outfit sorted for the weddin'? Mom nodded softly.
Yes. Mom.
Picked up something nice at the thrift in Billings. Margaret cut in, eyeing Mom up and down like she was appraising a used truck. Well, if it don't quite match, I'd be happy to loan you one of mine. We gotta keep the family pics looking sharp. You know, polished. That word polished landed like a slap in the face. Mom's cheeks flushed a bit, but she kept her cool. That's mighty kind, but I've got it covered. Margaret sniffed. If you're sure, though maybe think about freshening up that hair. My gal in town could squeeze ya in my treat. Of course. I saw Mom's grip tighten on her purse. She'd scrubbed floors and waited tables my whole life, raising me solo after Dad skipped town when I was a toddler. She'd packed my lunches in recycled bags while other kids had fancy coolers. She'd mended my clothes with love instead of tossing, and never once griped about it. Never made me feel like we were scraping by. But in that shop with its crystal flutes of bubbly and velvet drapes, shame crept in uninvited. And I hated myself for it. That night, I vented to Jake over burgers at his folks' guest house on the ranch, a sprawling log cabin his parents had gifted him. My place was a tiny apartment in town I could just afford on my teacher's salary. Babe, you're making a mountain out of a molehill, Jake said, thumbing through his phone. Mom's just picky about how things look. This wedding's a big deal. Half the cattle barons in Montana are comin'. She's on all those rodeo charity boards. She basically called my mom poor and unkempt. She offered help. That's neighborly. It wasn't neighborly.
Jake.
It was downright rude. He finally glanced up, annoyance flickering in his eyes. Look, I love ya.
Eminência.
But my family's got standards. They ain't mean, they just want perfection. I wanted to push back, but exhaustion won. Wedding stress. Fitting into his world. Apologizing for my roots, it wore me down.
Fine, I mattered.
He pecked my forehead like I'd come to my senses. That's my girl. Trust me. Post-wedding. It'll smooth out. 2 days later. The rehearsal dinner was at the Thompsons Country Club outside Bozeman, the sort where you needed deep pockets and connections to even get on the wait list. 60 folks for this cozy shindig. Mom showed up in her best floral dress. Hair curled just so. Makeup subtle but thoughtful. She looked radiant to me. But stepping into that room of designer Western wear and custom cowboy hats, she faded into the background. I caught Margaret's friends whispering, their eyes darting from Mom to me, like they couldn't fathom how Jake landed someone so ordinary. At dinner, Bill stood for a toast, his booming voice echoing off the wood-paneled walls. He was a burly rancher type, face weathered from years under the sun. To my boy Jake, he thundered, glass raised. You've done the Thompson name proud. Your granddad started from scratch with nothing but grit and a few head of cattle. Buildin' this empire. We're thankful for the solid groundin' we've given ya, the schools, the chances, the values. He rambled on about the Thompsons, never once nodding to me or Mom. Under the table, Jake squeezed my hand but stayed mum. No defense. No mention of my side. He let his dad wipe us out of the picture. After, I ducked to the ladies' room to steady myself. My best friend,
Lisa.
followed, bolting the door. You holdin' up? She asked. I don't know if I can go through with this. Then don't. Bolt like a Mustang. She said it plain as day.
Ain't.
We've been tight since college. You've changed this year, twistin' yourself into knots for them. Deposits are paid. Folks flew in. Mom scrimped for that dress. Voices drifted from the hall, Margaret's. I warned Jake this was a bad idea. That woman raised her in a trailer park.
Practically.
Look at her calluses. Those are Laboran hands. No class at all. The grandkids? Lord help us. Lisa grabbed my arm, fuming. We're leaving now. But I was rooted. Hearing my future mother-in-law trash Mom like she was dirt on their boots. Lisa drove me home. I didn't spill to Jake. I lay awake, convincing myself marriage would fix it. They'd accept us as family.
Boy.
Was I off the mark? The night before the wedding, sleep evaded me like a spooked horse. Every time my eyes shut, Margaret's words echoed. Trailer park, no class. My alarm blared at dawn, and I hauled myself up, trying to muster some bridal joy. This was supposed to be my fairy tale.
Right?
Lisa swung by at 7 to whisk me to the ranch's main house for getting ready. The bridal suite was a rustic dream. Log walls, king-sized bed with quilts, windows framing the Absarca Mountains. Mimosas and fresh biscuits waited on a sideboard. My dress hung like a Western princess's garb. Your mom's textin', Lisa said, glancing at her phone. She's headin' over. Wants a quiet moment before the pros arrive.
That warmed me.
Mom always sensed when I needed her steady hand. She showed up soon after, a small gift box in hand, tied with twine. She looked worn, like she'd tossed and turned too. Mornin', darlin', she said, wrapping me in a hug that smelled of sage and home. Brought you something. It was my mama's for your special day. Before she could hand it over, the door swung wide. Margaret breezed in, decked in a soft blue ensemble fit for a ranch queen, trailed by stylists lugging gear. Mornin'. Bride-to-be, she cooed, air-kissing my cheeks, her perfume heavy as a summer storm. Spotting Mom. Her smile tightened.
Oh.
Sarah, you're early. I was hoping for some girl time with Emily before the rush. I just wanted to see her quick, Mom replied softly. How thoughtful, Margaret said, stepping between us like a fence post. But we gotta jump on it. Photographers due soon. And that hair of yours. Emily, it'll take time. To Mom, Sarah, maybe head back and freshen up yourself. I'm sure you'll need a spell. The dig was sharp as barbed wire. Mom's smile dimmed, but she nodded. Sure thing. See ya at the ceremony. Sweetie. She left the box and slipped out. I itched to call her back, to tell Margaret off, but the team was already herding me into a chair, caping me up. The next hours blurred, hot irons, powders, Margaret's nonstop opinions. My lashes too sparse, skin too freckled from sun. That scar from a childhood fall. Might want to get it checked. Could be trouble. By dress time, I felt like a show pony, not a bride. The ceremony was at the old wooden chapel on the ranch, built by Jake's great-granddad, with views of rolling pastures. Yesterday's rehearsal had me feeling dwarfed by its history.
Now,
In my gown, peering through the doors, guests streamed in. Jake's side bustled, ranch owners in beyond-the-lookout ties, ladies in turquoise jewelry, networking like it was a cattle auction. My side?
sparse.
Coworkers, college pals, neighbors, maybe 20, with Mom alone in front, looking tiny in that vast space. Ready? Lisa asked, stunning in her sage green dress, eyes concerned. We can still hightail it. Trucks parked close. I laughed weakly. I'm good. The fiddle started. Lisa went first. Then me, walking solo with my wildflower bouquet, no dad to give me away. No stand-in. Faces turned, Thompson crowd with cool smiles, judging if I measured up. Then Mom, beaming through tears, seeing me as her world. I nearly pivoted, but Jake waited in his black cowboy hat and suit, grinning nervously. You look like a dream, he whispered, taking my hands. Maybe it'd work out. Vows done. Rings on. Kiss sealed, married. Applause rippled like wind through grass. The reception barn was decked out. String lights. Hay balecites. Wildflowers everywhere. During cocktails, I scanned for Mom, but got pulled into photos. Jake chatted with buddies by the open bar. Heading over. I overheard him. I know. Fellas. But she's different one-on-one. Worth it. His pal Cody, who'd always eyed me sideways, muttered low. Jake guffawed. At least she's easy on the eyes.
Right?
Dad says as long as the kids don't turn out too backwoods, we're golden. I halted behind a post, gowns suddenly suffocating. Jake, Cody hissed.
Spotting me.
Jake whirled,
Baling.
then recovered with a hug. Hey, honey, just shooting the breeze. You okay? What did you mean about the kids? Nothing.
Guy talk.
Don't fret on our day. Someone called for dinner. That's when I saw the seating. I'd planned Mom next to me at the head table.
Now?
Shunted to table 15 by the doors. Jake. Who messed with the chart? He shifted. Mom needed spots for the senator and his wife, big donors to her wildlife fund. Your mom was fine with it. You didn't ask me.
Ink.
Not here. Eyes on us. Lisa whispered. Your mom's in the restroom. Lookin' shook. Heart sinking. I hustled through the crowd. Dress snagging on spurs. Found Mom in the hall. Dabbing eyes. What happened? She waved it off. Nothing. Sugar. Tell me. Deep breath. Margaret's sister pulled me aside. Thought I was the help. When I said I'm the bride's mom, she gawked like I'd said I was from Mars. Figured Jake must've
Well,
adopted ya or something. The implication stung, like Mom wasn't fit for me. I hugged her tight, feeling her tremble.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. Your day's perfect. But it wasn't. The band leader called for toasts. We returned. I sat by Jake. Mom to her corner. Lights dimmed. Spotlight on Bill. Whiskey flushed and unsteady. My gut twisted, trouble brewing. Bill gripped the mic. Feedback squealing. Folks, he slurred. To my son Jake and his
Bride.
We've built this ranch from dirt. And Jake's carrying that torch. But let's be real, some folks drag you down. He pointed at Mom. That there? That's not family material. That's trash.
Gasps.
Jake laughed. My world shattered. The silence after Bill's words was thicker than Montana fog. Every eye in the barn darted between him.
Mom. And me.
Margaret stood beside him, her smile frozen like ice on a winter pond, not saying a word to shut him down. Dad, Jake finally muttered, half laughing still. Easy on the bourbon. But the damage was done. Whispers spread like wildfire in dry grass. I stood, legs shaky, and marched to the mic. That's my mother you're talking about, I said, voice cracking but firm. The woman who raised me with more love and grit than your whole spread could buy. Bill snorted. Love don't pay bills.
Girl.
We took you in gracious like.
Despite your
background. Margaret chimed in. We mean well.
Dear.
It's just standards. Mom rose quietly, walking to the front with the grace of a seasoned ranch hand facing a storm. The room hushed. She took the mic from me gently. Emily. Darlin'. It's okay. Then, facing the crowd. 28 years ago, I was a young tech whiz in Silicon Valley. Sold my first startup for a cool $100 million. Murmurs rippled. Fell for a charmer. Got pregnant with Emily. But he was after the cash. Even tried to off me when I wouldn't sign it over. My jaw dropped. I survived. But saw the poison in that world. Folks saw dollars. Not people. So I vanished. Became Sarah Hayes. Raised my girl simple, in these mountains. Taught her what counts. Hard work.
Kindness.
Judgin' folks by their heart, not their wallet. She eyed the Thompsons. I've watched y'all since Emily got engaged. Hoped you'd welcome her for her. Not what she brings. But no. Pulling out her phone. She tapped. Check your email.
Bill.
He fumbled his device. Face draining color. Margaret snatched it.
Gasping.
What's this? Thompson Ranch Holdings, Mom said coolly, is majority owned by my firm. Hayes Ventures. Been that way for a decade, silent partner. You've been working for me. Unknowingly, Bill stammered. This is bull. That email? Your pink slip. Morality clause in the contract. Public humiliation violates it clean. You're out. A sharp-dressed man stepped from the shadows. Her lawyer. I'd later learn. He handed her a tablet. To Jake. Your brokerage firm? Hayes Ventures is your top client. 40% of assets.
Jake blanched.
How? Boss just got word we're pulling out unless they cut ties with you. Jake's phone buzzed, his superior. He answered. Voice shrinking. Sir?
Yes. But.
Understood. Hanging up. Fired. Mom turned soft to me. I'm sorry for the secrets.
Eminencia.
But the lessons were real. Cleanin' jobs. Inspectin' my properties. Cafeteria shifts. Checkin' employee welfare. Wanted you strong. not spoiled. Margaret wailed. You can't ruin us over words. Words that cut deep, Mom replied. You hid me in a corner. Sniped at my clothes. My life. But this ain't just revenge, it's protection. The crowd buzzed. Phones out. Recording. Let's go, I whispered. Mom nodded. Lisa joined. Beaming. Best plot twist ever. We left in a sleek SUV, not Mom's old pickup, driver calling her mess. Haze. The Thompsons' pleas faded behind. In the car, winding through mountain roads, I processed. Why the act, if you had it all? Mom squeezed my hand. After the attempt on my life, I saw greed everywhere. I was young, scared, alone with you on the way. So I built a new life here, simple,
Real.
taught you values money can't buy. But the struggles, secondhand boots, part-time gigs. Hard. I know. Broke my heart seeing you save for college. But it shaped you kind, resilient. Not like them. Lisa nodded. You're the real deal.
Eminência.
Those trust fund cowboys? Fake as fool's gold. We pulled up to a stunning log mansion overlooking the Gallatin River, Mom's real home. Inside, warm fireplaces, books, photos of her with CEOs, governors. This is ours now. If you want. Over days. The video went viral. Bill's slur. Jake's laugh. Mom's reveal. Social media roasted the Thompsons. Clients ditched Bill's side ventures. Jake's firm distanced. They tried spinning it as a setup, but footage didn't lie. Jake bombarded my phone. Anger. Then please. I love you.
Eminência.
It was a joke. We can rebuild. But that laugh? Unforgivable. Mom sat me down in her study. Hayes Ventures ain't just profit, it's ethical. We build communities, not walls. She showed reports. Eco-ranching. Scholarships for rural kids. You don't gotta join. But there's space if you want. My old teaching job felt small now. Teach me. We visited sites, sustainable farms she'd funded, schools with her grants. Wealth's a tool, she said. Thompsons use it to lord over folks. We lift 'em up. 3 months on, we launched the Hayes Foundation, aiding single moms in the West with education, childcare, job training. For the life I faked, Mom announced at the launch. But others live for real. Lisa quit her gig to run outreach. This beats sellin' trail mix.
E met Alex.
A wildlife biologist with student debt and a rusty Jeep. No clue about Mom at first. When I told him, he grinned. Cool. But help me tag these elk. It was real. As the dust settled from the wedding fiasco, I dove into the foundation work. Morning started with coffee on the deck, watching the sun rise over the mountains. Then strategy sessions with Mom. We partnered with local tribes for land conservation grants, set up mentorships for at-risk youth in small towns like Livingston. It wasn't glamorous, lots of spreadsheets and community meetings, but it felt purposeful, like planting seeds in rocky soil and watching them sprout. The Thompsons didn't vanish quietly. Bill lawyered up, claiming the firing breached contract. But Mom's team had ironclad docs. The morality clause was standard in Western business deals, tied to public conduct affecting company rep. A quick arbitration in Bozeman ruled in our favor. No lawsuit needed. Just a quiet settlement where Bill walked with a modest severance, provided he signed an NDA. No dragging it through courts. Mom wanted closure, not spectacle. Revenge burns hot but fades, she said. Building lasts. Jake tried one last Hail Mary, showed up at the foundation office.
Hat in hand. Ain't.
I messed up. Dad's words. I laughed 'cause I was nervous. Please. I met him in the lobby. Heart steady. It wasn't just the laugh.
Jake.
It was months of letting them chip away at me. At Mom. You chose silence. He hung his head. I see that now. Lost my job.
Friends.
Family's scrambling. That's on y'all. But I hope you learn from it. Treat folks equal. No matter their boots. He left quieter. No fight left. Margaret reached out via email.
Surprisingly.
Sarah, what happened was regrettable. Perhaps we can discuss reconciliation. Mom pondered, then invited her for coffee at a neutral spot, a diner in town. I tagged along, curious. Margaret looked humbled.
No Yueli.
Simple attire. I was wrong, she admitted. Raised in a world where status ruled. Hurt people without thinking. Mom nodded. Pain's a teacher. We're helping moms like the one you mocked. Join us, volunteer. Margaret hesitated, then agreed. Started small, packing care kits for families. Over time, she softened, sharing her own struggles as a young ranch wife. 6 months post-wedding. A news ping. Thompson Ranch scales back amid financial woes. Bill sold off land parcels. Jake took a entry-level gig in Denver. No glee from me, just a shrug. They're survivin', I told Mom over dinner. That's more than they gave us credit for. She smiled. Forgiveness ain't forgettin'. It's movin' on lighter. My life bloomed. Alex and I hiked trails. Talked dreams. He proposed on a ridge overlooking Yellowstone, no fanfare. Just us and the stars. You're my adventure.
Eminencia.
Fancy or not. We wed simply at the chapel. Mom walking me down. Guests, foundation folks. Locals we'd helped. Alex's park ranger pals. My side overflowed with real connections. Reception at a community hall. Potluck. Line dancing.
Toasts about growth.
Lisa raised her glass. To Em and Sarah, warriors who turned hurt into help. And Alex. For lovin' her true. Mom pulled me aside. Happy? Surveying the joy. Beyond. Regrets.
None.
You were my best investment. We hugged. The lesson clear. True worth shines from within. Not wallets. The Thompsons' cruelty sparked change. In us. And maybe them. But life threw a curve. A year in, Mom got a call. Bill had a health scare. Needed support. She sent aid anonymously through the foundation, medical bills covered. When he found out, he wrote, "Thank you. Learning humility the hard way." Mom replied, "We all do. Pay it forward." It wasn't full redemption, but a step. I saw the humanity in it. No one's purely villain or hero. With the foundation thriving, we expanded. Vocational training for Western women. Ecotourism jobs preserving lands. I led workshops, sharing my story lightly. Class divides hurt, but bridges heal. Alex and I started a family, our kid growing up knowing both ranch simplicity and smart stewardship. Looking back, that wedding explosion wasn't destruction, it was rebirth. The West teaches resilience, storms pass. Mountains endure. We emerged stronger. With a gentle lesson, lead with empathy, and even rivals can find common ground. 2 years after the wedding that imploded, I stood on the porch of our modest cabin. One mom insisted we keep grounded in watching our toddler chase fireflies in the twilight. Alex grilled burgers nearby, laughing as the little one tumbled. Mom joined us weekends, sharing stories of her old life, now openly. The foundation had grown. Chapters in Wyoming, Colorado, even Idaho. We'd helped hundreds, moms earning degrees, starting businesses, breaking cycles. The Thompsons? They'd adapted. Bill retired quietly, volunteering at a local food bank. Margaret's influence. Perhaps. She became a regular at our events. Her sharp edges softened. I was blind, she confessed once over coffee. Thought money made me better. You showed otherwise. Jake? He rebuilt in Denver, working ethics in finance, even donating to our cause anonymously. A card arrived. Thanks for the wake-up. Wishing you well. No grudges held. Life moves like a river. Legally, everything stayed clean. Mom's ventures operated with transparent clauses, no gray areas. When a similar case popped in the news, we advocated for fair contracts protecting dignity. Business ain't war, Mom preached. It's community. Our family expanded. Another baby on the way. Adventures in national parks. I taught part-time, blending education with foundation work. The lesson lingered light. Wealth amplifies character. Use it kindly. That shocking day taught us all, cruelty boomerangs, but grace endures. In the end, under those vast western skies, we found peace. Not in revenge, but redemption. The mountains whispered, we're all just folks, navigating the trail together.